Ndị be anyị kelekwanụ m unu. Anyị sị ka nke chiri ya zelu. Anyị sị ka ọ mara na ala Igbo na mma. Anyị adị ka Chineke ada agwụ agwụ. Otu anyị kwuru ya, otu akwa ya dịrịrị. Ise, ise, ise. Anyị dịka o si dị ụbọchị uhuruchi nketa anyị wetara nnukwu ozi. Biko geenụ ntị. Ife according to the Biafran activist wetara ya bụ ozi. Quote, "The truth uncovered why we denied him visa in a shocking." All right, this is according to the Biafran activist. O mere unveil ihe mere ndị Canada ji wee deny ya the Nigerian chief of staff. Anyị gwaburu nkwa na ga-ewetere ya bụ update mana anyị gburu n'oge because anyị na-eche clear information tupu anyị drop ya n'iru akwụkwọ. All right, mana ya bụ ife abịago. The reason eji wee deny ya, Musa bụ the CDS, Nigerian chief of defense staff, visa. Ya bụ ihe ka ji maka ya wee bịa n'iru akwụkwọ. Tọntị na ana dịka ihe anụ ya bụ ife. All right, over to you.
Social media and the news wave in Nigeria is burning because Canada denied Nigeria chief of army staff visa, and that became a big news.
There's an event to honor our veterans, those that were injured during battle. Remember last year the Duke of Sussex visited Nigeria with his wife. Through the Invictus, they have a foundation that they try to raise the morale of troops all over the world that have suffered one form of deformity or the other in the course of defending their individual countries. So we're supposed to be there. And actually, half of my team have already gone, but unfortunately, the Canadian embassy, for knowledge best known to them, denied us visa. So I wasn't sure, and so I wanted to be silent about it. But when we couldn't get the visa, I said, this is blessing in disguise. So I'm really very happy to be here.
Since after he came to admit this visa denial, many Nigerians have been dragging this government up and down. And they have valid reasons for doing that. Especially when Rebadu came with his own statement and reaction.
Thank you for the courage to say that Canada denied you. They can go to hell. Even though it's painful, it's disrespectful, but we are people. We are strong. And I agree with you. We have to fix our country. We have to do it well. Yes, this disrespect is too much. So, yet is another reason why we work hard to make Nigeria work and be respected.
Good. Now Nigerians are telling this government of impunity, especially in reacting to Rebadu, that since he decided to work with the same person he dragged and investigated for corruption at international level scale, what would they expect? That it is time for Nigeria to have its own retrospect, especially among the leaders. And that is the position of many Nigerians. And some of them have also dragged the Nigerian military for being complicit, as they said it, to the insecurity happening in Nigeria.
For everyone, you need to come on board. Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver?
And you expect any country to take Nigeria seriously after hearing that bandits, terrorists, and killers can aspire to be president of this country and even occupy sensitive positions in government, and you expect Canada to give you visa.
And also, human rights violation, especially what we are seeing in the southeast. Having said that, let us flip the page on the other side to also dig in deep with what we've been saying all this while. And that is the position of the Chief of Defense Staff with respect to international conspiracy to sponsor and continue destabilizing Nigeria with terrorism. Listen to this.
I just can't understand why anybody will wake up and say that we're killing people when we're actually not doing the same. And guess what? Where the Giwa barracks you were talking about, we have all the humanitarian agencies working there. You have the UN working, local and international organizations are working. Are we saying they are complicit? There is nothing we're doing in the back. So if they don't say it, which means Amnesty International is equal, and Amnesty is equally there. So which means they're equally accusing all these other organizations of being complicit.
So just to be clear, you would be prepared to go to the ICJ in The Hague and answer these accusations?
We're not scared of anything because we don't have anything of such.
We've seen Boko Haram regroup and regroup and regroup. What is your answer to that? That you have in some way fed the insurgents?
The problem is that I think we've talked to international community. Let's find out the funding. When they started surrendering, by the time we left, so as we speak, we have over 120,000 that have surrendered. Most of them, when you find them, they are coming with hard currencies. How did they get them? How are they funded? How did they get the training? How did they get the equipment?
What is your suspicion?
Well, maybe an international conspiracy, you don't know. Who knows? How are they be able to sustain themselves for 15 years? That is one question I think everybody should ask himself. For Nigeria to be able to hold them, and you go to Nigeria, everything seems to be working well.
You must have an idea. I mean, let's not talk about international conspiracy theories. Let's give some hard facts.
Well, I just leave it at that. I'm sure they know, and I'm sure everybody knows that these are the challenges we're facing, that needs to be addressed. So the UN need to come in to ensure that, because we need to trace the funding. How are they sustaining themselves for 15 years?
What does the UN coming in mean? What does that look like?
Track the funding. It's international flow. We don't have control over that.
Whose interest is it to see Nigeria destabilized?
Well, I don't know. You don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yes.
NGOs, there are so many things. If we want to go into NGO issues, there are so many things I had. Initially, when the NGOs came in, when we started, they didn't want any oversight function. They didn't want us to know where they were going to. We had issues with that, because now they will go into the enclave of the terrorists and go and treat them. You are treating the same people that is attacking the communities. You tell them, no, that you are neutral. How neutral can you be? We've had situations where allegations of arms, them conveying arms to us just to make sure that the war continues. We've had situations where they will tell you they are taking food to communities. Halfway, they tell you the trailer has broken down. By next morning, the trailer is empty. And that vehicle that is broken down, the driver will just go and drive it and take it back. So what had happened? You have funded those guys. You are taking care of them equally. We've had several situations like that. So we said, no, it can't continue like that. And that's why we insisted with the state government that, look, the state government must know what's going on. So if any NGO comes, it must be registered. We must monitor what's going on. We've had situations where NGOs will come in with unidentified individuals entering communities. You don't even know what they're doing. They don't have NGO ID cards. They are not part of the government. Who is taking them to? What are they going there for? And so by the time we start monitoring what they were doing, we noticed things started getting better. So which means something is going on somewhere. Because they come from all over the world and you don't know who is who. So that's why for every country, please regulate what the NGOs are doing, monitor what they're doing. Most times you hear them telling you that they spent $10 million and then you wonder where. Most times the money is spent on themselves, on their luxuries. The hotels they stay, the vehicles they are using and all those things. The locals don't benefit much from them. And yet this thing keeps on. I've told you, somebody will come and pay for a house for 10 years ahead. So what is he trying to tell you? This thing will never end until after 10 years, or maybe he will renew it. And again, I always remember that if there is peace and the threat level is low, one, they are going to retrench them. Two, their hazard allowance will reduce. how many of them will want that? We're not saying all of them are bad. No, some are really doing very well. Some are extremely doing very well. But again, please don't just assume they're just monitor what's going on, monitor what's being spent. I think it's important.
After he said these things, honestly speaking, one can accept that truly there is international conspiracy. If not, why will you deny him visa? Is it because of his position about international community conspiring to destabilize Nigeria? And that has been the standard procedure in Africa, where they hide under NGOs, aid, and assistance to sponsor terrorism. We've seen foreigners supply unknown things to terrorists and bandits in the north with helicopters. We've seen that happen. We've said it time and over that there is no place in Nigeria and Africa where there is high level of insurgents that you will not find serious, strong deposit of solid minerals. They have been cutting away. They hide under these chaos to cut away some of these minerals. In collaboration, because they can't do that alone, with corrupt government officials. And some of them in the military. So, when you look at these things, you will understand where this man is coming from. And some will say, truly, that's why he was denied visa. Could that one also be true? We leave it for you to have your say. What do you think could be the cause of the denial of this visa? Because it seems like visa to Obodo Yibo, Western world, Canada, UK, America, and the rest of them is visa to heaven. Africans. Now, these same people will bring this narrative of heaven give us. Me, I believe in heaven. But if Oyibo could not allow Africans to come to their own heaven, we need to make our own heaven ourselves. We need to make our homeland the El Dorado, the heaven, the paradise we seek. The only problem we have is bad governance. Because Africa had everything. God mesmerized Africa with both solid minerals and human resources to be at the front line in international affairs. But today, Africa is only doing babiala, begging for aid, still borrowing from the Western world. We live in as slaves in the modern era. And those who are selling Africa to the Western world are the people in power. That's why this message of good governance must continue. That's why we must continue to fight until we get it right with leadership in Africa. Because if that is not the case, tell me how a whole chief of defense staff is being denied the visa. There must be people inside. So, make your choice and make your own belief. Let's have your own truth on the comment section. I still remain Asuchinot Peters, the advocate for good governance. Help me share this video to everyone. And we'll also have your comment coming through on the comment section. Bye-bye for now. GGN, uniting the people for good governance.
ndị banyị ngwadalụ dị nne n'ukwu si wene soro n'elu akwụkwọ na Eastern District 24 bebe isi wene wetara nya bụ ozi dịka isi kwuo n'ọkwa n'elu akwụkwọ ka efi were ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile nọ n'elu akwụkwọ n'oge ugbu a ka efi were ikwu n'ụdị nke gị dropụra ifiche maka ya bụ ife na comment section bido bebe isi wene wetara nya bụ ozi na Eastern District 24 nwoke mmesi ya na ụmụnne m